Hey guys, Cat Gamer here, and I'm here to give you guys another update video. This time talking about update 15 and its newest map, Moran. And this is big because we have not gotten a new map in a long time, so that's awesome to get for once. On top of Moran finally dropping after essentially months of waiting and PTEs and everything like that, SMDM, or Ste Marie Du Mont, has been essentially reworked a little bit, and there's also a decent number of bug fixes, both small and maybe a little bit large, depending on how you see it. But let's dive into that, starting with Moran. So Moran is the newest map that'll be coming to the game, and it's Team 17's first map from the ground up, which means they did not inherit it from Black Matter when they purchased the game. This is something that they've had to make from scratch. And overall, from what it seems like, they've learned a lot of mistakes from just El Alamein, Drill, and just overall how they've done things, as they've really taken months to really work this map and make it a good one, at least on looks anyway. Overall, they've done several PTEs, they've talked to the community, and they've tried to make it a good map. Now obviously there's going to probably be some bugs, there's going to probably be some issues, but that's with any new content, so at least try to be patient with the new map. But at least from the looks and the photos, I have not had a chance to play it yet, and I never got a chance to play the PTEs, but for what it seemed like and what the community was saying, it seemed to be a good map, just needed some tweaks. Now for you historical people out there, there are some aspects in the changelog or dev brief that'll be down below, but I'll give you guys at least the sum up version. So essentially, several US units or divisions had to hold off a German counterattack during Operation Lüttich, if I said that correctly. And essentially, the battle left the town basically destroyed, but the US Army held the city and was able to drive the enemy back, and essentially allowed for the Allies, the entirety of the Western Allies, to actually encircle and destroy several divisions that the Germans had in the Falaise Gap, an area that would essentially finally break the back of German resistance in Normandy after the D-Day landings, and allow for the Western Allies to essentially break out of Normandy. From there, the dev brief talks about the environmental art and the technical art departments and how they tried to leave a lasting impact from what Black Matter had left in their legacy and how they tried to follow in their footsteps there, and basically the process of making the map. So I won't dive too much into that. That one's more of a reading thing, but to at least give some of the high points, they talked about the PTEs, they talked about some of the weaponry things and how it could work into the map, some of the foliage aspects, the Unreal calculations, just a lot of little things that if you want to look at, like I said, I will leave down in the description below. Now, I will throw up a couple photos of the map. Some of them are fairly familiar because they have taken just some previous photos from what they did use, and just some other photos I haven't seen before, at least the ones they've used in the dev brief. Another thing they also talked about with the map itself is ensuring that they talked about the more traversable buildings, or the buildings that you can actually go into, as that was a issue that was addressed in the PTEs. So they have looked to address that. Again, I haven't played the map yet, so I don't know how much of this is, I guess, true, but hoping for the best on this one, but just throwing that out there because it was mentioned. Now, what I want to also throw up here is the tag map that they released for the game with the dev brief, and then compare it to the map that we got with the tag map generator that was out before the update came out. And it seems like they've made a couple differences, especially with the foliage and, say, areas with trees. So at least we know that they've been trying to change things, at least from when we last see them, and at least reported on them, at least per the Hell It Lose ETL Discord page that they have all the TAC maps for all the maps. So just a little interesting feature I'd mention that at least I noticed here when looking at the maps when putting them into today's video. Now, moving past Moran, as that's the main big things to hit on for that map, is that they did some reworking of Ste Marie Du Mont, or SMDM. So essentially the biggest things that they wanted to make here was more accessible areas in the town and just making the map a little bit more accessible in general. So what they've done is they've actually made the town more accessible, and what I'm going to throw on screen now is the before photo that they had in their dev brief and the after photo. And again, you can look at this, it's actually a GIF on their dev brief, but I just separated it because it wouldn't let me put the GIF in here. But it shows that there's actually a lot more areas to maneuver and to flank around, which can help both attacker and defender alike. So that's interesting to see, and honestly, If you're playing on offensive and you face this point as the Americans trying to attack it, it is a pain to attack. So it'll be nice to see a little bit of change up here. And again, it's a town. There should be a nice little alleyways you could fight through. So nice little change there, in my opinion. Obviously, if you have something different, let me know down in the comments below. In correlation with that, they did also release some more bird's eye photos, essentially, or top-down photos of some of the areas, such as northwest, northeast, southeast, and southwest in that order as I lay them out here. So just some interesting little aspects, and at least they look a little bit more open and a little bit more traversable. Again, we'll see how they look in game, but at least it changes up the game a little bit and adds a little bit of nice change, but we'll see how it works out. Maybe it flops, maybe it works, we'll see. Now, as per essentially recording this video about essentially an hour or two ago, the Held Loose Discord essentially sent out a message that the hedgerows on Ste Marie Du Mont that are missing is not an intentional thing. They are looking to correct this in a hotfix, and that they will keep us updated. So expect a extra little tiny update to fix the hedgerows of Ste Marie Du Mont, and probably any other little things that appear with Moran, but we'll see with that. But that one I want to address and leave it at that. Moving us along here, the console rotation is also out, as well as the new maps for skirmish mode. So Ste Marie Du Mont and Moran will be part of the skirmish rotation, or at least maps that can be played in skirmish mode, while there is a temporary rotation for console for offensive and warfare. I will leave that on screen now. Essentially, the first couple maps starting will be Moran, Carentan, and El Alamein, obviously with different modes. So like I said, that's on screen. Screenshot, do what you gotta do, but there's the map rotation at least for the week ahead. Now, like all their updates, there is some more paid DLC that you can get. Of course, they're all just cosmetic, nothing that actually is game breaking or anything like that. But the oak leaf camo scheme for the Germans, it's a fall camo, but I'll just post it on screen now. So that's the newest DLC that is for the game, and it's for the Germans. Now, on top of just a new map, a map rework, and a new DLC, they did add a Moran themed front end screen or a main menu screen when you open up the game. They made some muzzle flash improvements, additional nameplate oculation settings, and in-game store improvements, just to name a couple big things they wanted to note in the changelog. On top of that, they did mention some general bug fixes. As per like my other videos, I'm not going to spend a lot of time naming every single one, but I'll name off a couple things, such as they made some changes with skirmish mode, just some little aspects there, such as the map key may not be present for certain players, some barracks aspects, some vehicle aspects, such as the Churchill Mark III gun clipping into the body of the tank if the gun is rotated 180 degrees backwards and depressed to its lowest level. Just a lot of little things just throughout the entirety of the game that they tried to fix and just make it run cleaner. On top of that, the practice range did get a couple little tiny bug fixes here. Again, things we may or may not have noticed, as well as some of the maps in question, such as Drill, El Alamein, Foy, Utah Beach, Purple Heart Lane, and Ste Marie Du Mont, just to name the ones that they noted on the changelog. But to sum up the update, we got a new map for the first time in what seems like an age. Ste Marie Du Mont got reworked. We got a couple little bug fixes here and there. And just in general, we have new stuff that's big. And we're hoping for the best here. Hoping to know that Team 17 have learned from their mistakes from the past. But I myself have high hopes. I hope you do. Let me know in the comments what you think below. Maybe if you've played the game before I have. But I hope you got something out of today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.